Our first video focuses on what standards-based grading even is. What on earth is standards-based grading? Well, first we start at a standard, and the state creates and adopts standards for every content area through collaboration of experts, teachers, and administrators. Then at our building, we use that standard as our barometer, and we measure our student progress throughout time against that standard. But we only measure our student progress academically toward that standard. We pull out all the behavior and work skills that maybe that you experienced when your kids were in elementary school or in another middle school, or maybe you have older kids. You experienced it in high school, or maybe you experienced it yourself. A traditional grading scale, a 100-point grading scale, if you remember, A's, B's, C's, D's, and F's, although we haven't completely gotten rid of them, we think of them very differently in our school now. And more schools across the United States and around the world are thinking of that differently. So if you think about what makes an A, what does make an A? Does an A mean that you are just nailing it every single time? Like every time a test is given, you do spectacular. Or does an A maybe mean that? But it also maybe means that maybe I don't have all those skills mastered, but I turn my work in on time and I am quiet in class. I never disturb the teacher. Maybe that's what an A means. Or maybe an A means I really struggle. I struggle in this class and I don't do well on all of my assessments and my homework assignments, but I do every extra credit assignment that is given. If the teacher says there's extra credit, I do it. Even if it's bringing in pantry goods for Go Pantry and I get 5 extra points on my test. I use those other skills, those non-academic indicators to boost my academic score. And I guess I would say to you, what's wrong with that? Is there something wrong with that? I guess in our building we would say, we just don't think that's fair for kids. It's a great equalizer so that students' work skills and their academic skills have some sort of balance, but it's not a good communication tool to the student or to the parents because you don't ever really know how your kid is performing academically and how they're mastering the standards. And the standards for the state of Kentucky are developed so that they are all stair steps. So if you ever look closely at the Kentucky standards, what you learn in first grade is super important in order for you to master second grade standards and third and fourth and so on. Those standards build. So you can imagine that if at the second grade level, you're missing some mastery of a standard, when you get to third, it's going to hurt you. And when you get to fourth, it might hurt you. And maybe you can catch up along the way. But it's more important that you completely master your standards at every grade level so that you can progress through time without any backtracking and without any struggle. We do separate out our work skills, and I will definitely talk with you about that. So we report academic grades and we report work skills grades. Typically, we report our work skills grade every quarter when we generate a report card. And then you also get ongoing information through our behavior communication system. Currently, it's not set up. We'll be using Blooms this year. And once we get it set up, you're going to start getting information. So if your child is excelling in their work skills, you should be notified. And if your child is struggling in their work skills, you'll be notified. But through our gradebook in Infinite Campus, that's where you'll receive all of your information about academic progress of your student. So things like turning work in on time, missing work, talking out in class, all those things, those will not go into the academic score that you see in Infinite Campus. And the reason we do this is because work skills are incredibly important in the real world. So after your kids graduate from high school, if you just do a quick search on soft skills, and I know you guys are all professionals and you're thinking, yeah, look how much comes up on the important things that companies require for for adults to be able to do. Some of the most common ones are collaboration. Can you work well with others? Adaptability. So when things change, can you change? Or is that tough for you? Time management. Can you manage your time? Can you prioritize tasks? Do you turn assignments in on time? Does your project get finished on time? Do you or do you arrive to meetings on time? So there are so many of these work skills that we think are really important that we help kids develop and that we assess and measure that they are going to need if they're going to be successful out in the real world someday. And that is separated from their academic grades. For section 2, just a preview for you, we have a lot of standards-based grading jargon or edu-speak or educator talk, or I know sometimes when educators talk, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So we're going to break it down. We're going to talk to you about priority standards, proficiency scales, formative and summative assessment, and the 4-point grading scale in the future videos. Thanks for joining us. Hope you join us for video 2.